You're running a shop floor, not a Pinterest interest board or a fantasy football league. You don't need inspiration, you need things to work. So welcome to Build Your Way, a podcast from Cetec ERP. This is a show for manufacturers who are in it every day, from quoting and shipping jobs to troubleshooting quality and material shortages, all while staying a step ahead of what's next. We bring you stories from the field, lessons that stick, and strategies that actually scale to help you build better. Let's get to work.
All right, welcome back to the Build Your Way podcast here at Cetec ERP. I'm Taylor Wagon.
And I'm Scott Ryan, and this week we have Perry with American Syscomptel. Before we dive into the interview, it's
the book Power Hour.
Well, I'm trying to think of the Reading Rainbow theme song. It's Take a Look. It's in a book.
Oh, yeah. This is LeVar Burton.
Yeah.
Right? He's the Star Trek guy with the...
Yeah. He's kind of a cult hero.
A cult hero. I don't know which cult you're in, but I'll take your word for it. Today's book is actually...
I'm in multiple cults.
Cults, you can't do that. This is The Middle Kingdoms by Martin Rady Martin. The Wall Street Journal describes this to be a feat of both scholarship and storytelling.
It's like the left and right foot.
And the feet, it's both of them, two left feet. In the case here, it is a history of Central Europe. And this book is overwhelmingly its breadth. The breadth of its feet are overwhelming. It covers Central Europe basically from the end of the Roman Empire until like the 90s. So it's like the Holy Roman Empire, Germany, Hungary, and all these things. And the reason that I'm holding this book here today is because we are interviewing Perry from American Syscomptel, which is in Middle America.
I see. The Middle Kingdom
of America.
Yeah, Missouri. Yeah, the very heart of it. I think it's fascinating. I'm most familiar with British, like, post-Roman Empire, and that, like, I think that's kind of all fascinating, and the raids from the
Norse.
That's the Norse, and from the south, and all directions.
Yeah, it's a lot to keep track of. You don't need to know all those details. I got this book. My oldest son recommended that one to me as a large survey of Central European history, and it delivered for that.
Yeah, I like survey history. I like the big picture,
what's going on. I kind of like the detail history.
I think it's great. Just the patterns and the like. That's why I did really well in world history, but I didn't struggle in other history classes. I just
didn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah. I remember things if I can pattern them.
Ooh, like origami.
Yeah, love origami. Before we jump in, I want to start, instead of thinking about this at the end, Taylor has like a little book segment that we've done. But I also like to ask our guests, what books or podcasts could you recommend to people for life or for business, learning, just like what do you frequent?
Well, I typically do more podcasts and long form interview listens as I got a commute. So
how long is your drive?
50 minutes one way.
Okay.
So a little under 10 hours a week I spend on the car just getting to and from work. Long form interviews is what I typically listen to. I've listened a lot to the Sean Ryan show. I really enjoy his interview. He's a Navy SEAL dude.
Oh, he's a Navy SEAL. Can you tell if he's a SEAL or a sea lion? Do you know how to do that? I think it's the visible ears.
Oh,
visible ears.
It's the flippers. I think it's whether the tail, they walk on their tail, or whether they don't. The sea lion.
I don't know that any of them walk on their tail. They all kind of, on their bellies, really.
Yeah. Seals kind of belly flop along or inchworm along, I think, and whereas the sea lions can actually get up on fours and kind of waddle along a little bit more.
Prowl.
Podcast wise, last year, the favorite was the telepathy tapes.
Oh yes, yeah. Telepathy tapes. Those are pretty fascinating.
Do you have to listen to them, or does it just happen?
It just happens.
What are they?
Well, you explain. I got it. I also got into them, but
No, it's a documentary, essentially by a documentary filmmaker who's been bumps into a Harvard doctor who studies telepathy. And she's kind of like, "What do you mean? You're a Harvard doctor. Telepathy's, not real." So it's the story of her going down that rabbit hole and what she discovers.
yeah, it ends up like non-verbal autistic people like seemingly have a pathway of communication. So she kind of starts by exploring the relationship with their primary caregiver and how like there's kind of this, supernatural kind of connection, and then that extends to like this kind of that circle sort of widens. So it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
And are you convinced now that there is telepathy in the world?
I am open to questioning everything. My worldview, I thought I had my worldview kind of framed up really nicely, and I personally encountered some things that I struggled with. And after going through the telepathy tapes, and then that led me to a few other interviews and stuff that I found that really kind of broke the mold of where I thought I had everything kind of neatly framed up. And I'm like, well, okay, maybe I don't really know everything that I think I know. Maybe there's more out there than what I think I know and understand. Because there were some questions and stuff that I didn't have good answers for, and then still don't. But
particularly, I think at least in that documentary series, I thought, they're like part of the film crew. It's a lot of like skeptical people, doubtful. And so some of their reactions was interesting because they're watching things happening, So I thought that was pretty like,
There was a vote on the plus side here.
But this is one of the things that like will happen, like water cooler talk around the Cetec office when Taylor's not around, because then Taylor's going to ask you all the questions, like grill you with the questions that are less fun than like what could be.
Taylor, you need to watch the YouTube shorts of at episode 2 that they have up on some shorts of it on YouTube where they've taken pieces of the documentary. I guess they haven't put out the full video footage of it. It's just on the podcast. But there's the reason why some of the skeptics are skeptical, or there's some unexplainable things that you observe happen.
Well, it sounds interesting.
It's a good listen. It really is like, yeah. So you have a 50-minute commute. Are you from Missouri?
So my older brother's 6 years older than me. My sister is 4 years older than me, and myself were all born in the Philippines, and I am bilingual.
Where in the Philippines? I'm gonna have to map. I was mapping Forsyth, Missouri. I'll have to map this answer also. I ask as if I know.
An island of Luzon. I was raised in a little city, the capital city of a province called Cavite. So grew up a lot in Cavite, and then as a teenager we moved to Alabang, and then later on to Parañaque.
And so how long have you been in Forsyth, Missouri then? Well, do you live in Forsyth? You obviously don't live in Forsyth. You live 50 minutes away from Forsyth.
A little small suburb of Forsyth. It's called Springfield, Missouri.
Do you work in the office every day, or do you work from home one day a week or anything?
No, I'm in the plant every day. I wear lots of hats.
So what is a typical day? You arrive at what time?
Trying to get here at 7 now. I have been showing up at 8, work till whenever, 6, 5, 6.
What's your role at American Syscomptel? Or you wear many hats, so I've heard it described as a sombrero.
One large hat.
Yeah, it depends on where I'm needed. So anything from sales to operations to fixing machines. First thing I got here, Doug handed me a cable tie gun and told me to fix it. It had the cable tie wedged up in it. Never had one apart in my life. And then the next project was, hey, we really need to have some barcodes on our work orders. Can you help us get a barcode system going? So,
did you have history manufacturing before? Like, how'd you come on at ASI?
So my background was in sales at a electrical distribution company by the name of Carlton Bates that was acquired by Wesco. And when I was an outside or field sales rep for them, I had some experience in assemblies. So as a distributor, they were doing value add work. So I was familiar with, all the componentry that would go together, put together the bill of materials to quote stuff. But we had plants, and also ASI, or American Syscomptel, we just call it ASI. It's easier to say. They were a preferred outsource partner for Carlton Bates at the time. And so we would send them things. Hey, we need this harness either built, or hey, I'm going to give you a component. I need you to put terminals on the end of it, or I need you to drill a hole in some boxes and put some wires through it, that kind of stuff. So ASI was a value-adding outsource partner for the distributor I worked at. Still is. ASI had never had really a sales. Kind of like Cetec, never had a sales strategy.
Well, yeah. So give me
What should we do?
Yeah, you swim in our waters, in our space. Yeah. How does ASI approach sales, or even in distribution?
Advice. Go break it down.
Well, my best advice is just to copy and say what Zig Ziglar said. You can get anything you want out of life if you help enough other people get what they want. Whenever I was helping, my second stint at Carlton Bates Wesco, because I left in 2008 and came back in 2013, was helping the field salespeople develop assembly business. And my motto at the time was, if I can't help you win, it doesn't matter what we do, you've got to win, right? So it's kind of the same viewpoint I have in business here at ASI. Is we have customers who are putting things together, wires and cables or light assemblies, and if their focus needs to be on building their core competency, and ASI's core competency is wires and cables and those types of assemblies. So if you're putting together wires and cables on your machine and building your machine as well, you probably don't need to be putting together wires and cables. You probably need to be having somebody do that for you. You need to focus on building your machine, selling your machine, servicing your machine, and let somebody who's an subject matter expert work on those wires and cables for you. So for Cetec, I'd say you guys have such a broad, diverse installed customer base. I think your best salesmen are going to be your customer base. If you're helping your customers, like in some of your podcasts, you said it's a marriage, right? I need to know that this is going to be a long-term relationship. We need to know that we're going to get along. I can tell you that, like at our trade shows, I'll be telling other manufacturers, this is what we're using, and this is the things that are great about it. This is what we like about it. Your best salespeople are going to be your customers.
So do you mind if I ask a few just sales questions about what does that look like in your world, in your industry? So when you guys are selling as cable and wire, it feels like in that industry, a lot of the time you end up becoming a very integrated part to, your customer's supply chain, right? And you gain the competence, you end up working out, some of the engineering work, some of the test plan work, making sure you can deliver on schedule. Do you find it sales-wise, that you're selling more into new projects at existing customers, or is there as much to gain for you all, just in terms of how sales have been for you guys in acquiring new customers?
I would say that we will continue to deepen our relationships with existing customers, and that is easier to do. Prospecting and finding the new customers can be challenging, um, but honestly, in the world we live in, everything has electricity going through it, so everybody's using a wire harness. So it's not super hard to go sell it. It really the trick, I think, like you guys find, is probably finding that right match of, yeah, I'm an engineer and I've done this, and our guys on the floor know how to put it together, but I've not documented it right. And to have somebody like ASI come in and go, hey, can we help you maybe improve, mainly because we want to help you make a more reliable product, and we've got the equipment that's going to do XYZ. If you can get in the right audience and help people see the value of what you're trying to help them win, help them succeed, it's usually, always people are going to say, yeah, you're helping me be better. So
Yeah. I mean, mate, like there's a clear headache and you're going to say, okay, well, we'll handle that for you. Yeah. Yeah. It's a very, yeah.
to your question of where do you get business, where the distributor I used to work at, when it was still family owned, we had a motto called a Focus 50, where we would try to get as much as possible out of 50 customers versus every smokestack between here and there. And I will tell you, when I left that organization, I had whittled down my customer base to 18. And I deepened that relationship with those 18 to where I was integral and vital to their. I was a solution provider.
That's the contract manufacturing puzzle is generally that it seems. I think this just checks out across both our customer base and the companies that you and I interact with and know that selling in depth to an existing customer base is an easier puzzle than adding new customers, because it's a trust problem, right? And you become,
well, your cost to acquire a new customer.
Cost to acquire is very high.
Much higher.
Very difficult. So then, you still do have to do that. It's a difficult thing to do, to acquire a new customer. Does that happen semi-randomly? Is that relationship-based? Is it geographical for you? Like, how do you end up adding to go from 18 to 19?
So it's strategic as far as what we're doing right now. Before 2025, we didn't really have a plan for growth. It was all happening organically, word of mouth. This buyer would move to that new customer and they'd go, hey, I had a great supplier. And that's how we would onboard and get new customers, is purchasing agents would move or engineers would move. And they had already had a good long relationship with ASI. So that was the organic growth that we enjoyed, being more intentional and strategic. With AI and the ability to look things up and run things down, it's pretty easy to go, hey, I do things this guy builds things that are very similar to what this guy builds. I can very easily try to run down, and I'd like to get an appointment with somebody. This is what we do. This is our strengths and fortes. And usually OEM's already, has an outsourced supplier on a wire harness. And, we are kind of a commodity in that respect, which makes competing interesting. ASI has not found it difficult right now to once we have established a good contact to the customer, to slowly bring them on and stick your toe in the water and begin to wade into a relationship. Again, we're being very intentional and strategic in how we're onboarding new accounts.
Do you guys do a lot in regulated markets? I guess in our world that normally means, military things, aerospace things, or medical.
Actually, no. We do some. We're UL and CSA.
Okay.
But that's it. We're not AS 9100. We're not ISO even. We're looking at that right now because part of our strategic plan is, how do we get better and document our quality? So we've undergone quite a bit of development in our own quality and processes since the founder passed the torch to his son, Doug. You guys have met him, I think, at trade shows. He's a retired U.S. Air Force lieutenant colonel, and he brought along a lot of good processes when he took over ASI from his dad, who started the company. And I came on board in 2019, and some of our customers have actually driven us to become better. And that we've just kind of standardized on those best practices, and that's helped us differentiate ourselves even from our competitors out there.
Yeah. Is that the next major strategic initiative at ASI? What are you guys working on now in terms of process improvement, your data visibility, cost capture? What are some of the current pressing things that you guys are focusing on operationally?
So the cost capture. First of all, let me back up and kind of frame things up where that we came from, right? Prior to, was it April, May of 2023, ASI ran all of our books were on one computer backed up on a server, and then all of our quoting and manufacturing was done on Excel.
So you guys were like the classic QuickBooks and Excel chaos land. And did you guys have inventory value, or did you guys just put it all to COGS when you received it? We don't even have inventory. That's just part of the job.
So the founder actually just ran it on two bank accounts. At the end of the year, how much did I have at the end of the year? Doug was trying to do a little bit better than that, but in all reality, there was no way of knowing. I mean, what the thing actually cost. I used to call it shipping dollars. We'd throw a few dollars and then some of the boxes we'd ship. Are we shipping dollars with that order, or did we make any money on it, or we break even?
You found the world's greatest ERP system for small and medium-sized manufacturers. Wow.
You guys took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Pull up. All right, there's something here.
It really was a struggle to go from nothing to everything, right? And in fact, that's still something we struggle with is now that we've got, a couple, 2.5 years worth of whole data, now we can actually look and see, okay, what is the trend? What's really going on? Other than that, Doug was keeping track of data he got from bookkeeping and Excel and everything.
How do you, what percentage of jobs did you guys have this moment where you realize, hey, we've been making these things and selling them, and these are not profitable? Did you guys have any of those moments when you started tracking your job costs?
Yeah, no, it's actually been powerful for us because, again, that distributor I used to work for is still a customer of ours, and we still do work for them. And it's been very powerful to be able to just on a Teams call or whatever say, hey, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to peel the curtain back. Here's my labor. Here's my cost of materials. And here's what you're buying it for. I got to make some money on this. Otherwise, it's not profitable. So having that historical data to actually show them, hey, here's this part number, this SKU that you've been buying. Here's my historical sales history. Here's my margin on it. I ain't making any money on this, buddy. I gotta either cut loose or I need to raise your price. So you tell me what we need to do here. And one of my tasks this year is to actually do this. To go document our internal processes.
For our listeners at home, Perry is pointing to a large Cetec ERP flowchart, which is right behind his head. I don't know if everybody can see that. So,
yeah, my one of my goals this year is to get our internal processes documented with a flowchart.
Do you have any idea between, the before of QuickBooks Plus spreadsheets to where you are now in terms of, efficiency gains, like how do you guys calculate like this was worth it ROI wise, other than, hopefully you got a cool pair of socks at our, user conference or something. Like, did you not get his socks?
I didn't go to the Europalooza. We sent a couple of other folks, so no, I didn't get any socks. But it's okay. I was going to mail you guys a coffee mug to drink from, but the podcast came around too quick. Couldn't get it to you fast enough.
Go ahead and send it. I'll trade you a pair of socks for a coffee mug. Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah. I ran out of mugs. I had to go to my like boring burnt orange Hookem fellow mug. So yeah, I'll rep an ASI.
Send it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So ROI numbers. So like, what did you guys come up with, or what do you have, or have you measured that, or is it just kind of gut feel or telepathic feel? Excuse me.
I don't really have a way of giving that specific ROI number. We knew going in that we would have to feed the beast, right? So there's a lot more data capture that we never did, right? People just did stuff. And now we're actually clocking in, logging into work and logging out. Sometimes at the end of the day, hey, quit everybody because there's nobody here anymore, right? So the way our shop is set up is we have about 7 or 8 workstations for our shop supervisors or departmental supervisors. People in their departments they will either log in the people for the work that they're doing, or the individual, if they're on a machine, they've got access to a web portal and they can start and stop work. So the benefit that we are seeing is we're actually knowing right now, every day, was that assembly, did it achieve the profitability that we had estimated it at, or did we lose money on it? And if what did it do historically? And was there an anomaly? Did a machine break down? Did we not clock out? So we're actually able to study and see and know, I should say, whether or not this piece of business is matching what we had estimated it at. So that ROI has been phenomenal for us as an organization to know, is that profitable business for us or not?
Do you guys see like, I don't know, when did you guys switch to Cetec? 3 years ago?
2.5.
In that time frame, if you just look, P&L to P&L, like, have you guys been growing?
Yeah. So it's fair to say that we saw a correction in our margins because we were able to capture losses that were going out the door. Again, we were shipping dollars and not knowing it. So being able to go back and go, okay, no, either we had an efficiency problem internally, and just because we could see that doesn't mean we immediately go to our customer base and jack their prices. Because we do study for a while to find out, okay, wait a minute, we quoted it this way for a reason. Did we just screw it up completely, or are we not doing what we had estimated we were going to do on the quotation side of things?
Yeah, that's important to know, Mr. Customer. We're not just jacking up the prices.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, that's a significant, that's one of the cost capture and actual job profitability, I think, is one of our key, one of our key goals for any customer. So
we just see too much where if you're not able to easily track all your costs to a job. In fact, you and I had this conversation at a trade show roundtable like a month ago, right? About making sure that people are tracking their costs and getting an accurate picture of the job. And honestly, if you don't have an easy way of doing it, it's not going to happen. And so then the next step is that people will be like, oh, we absolutely have it. And it's like, it's way too confident because they're doing like labor time at estimate and then tracking material, or they're doing material at estimate but actually tracking labor, and then their overhead is just completely bunk. Like they're not tracking overhead accurately at all. They haven't even dealt with absorption around that. And don't get us started on outsource, or because that's like a whole nother thing where people generally just goes into some mythical bucket of nothingness.
How difficult is hiring in labor for you guys out there?
We're adding 2 people a week right now, and have been for the last couple 1.5 months.
Okay. All right. So you just run one shift right now?
At the moment, we are open from 6 to 5:30, and Saturdays also.
Oh, okay. There it is. Okay. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Good work.
Yeah. So you're not having, like, if you're able to hire 1 to 2 people a week, you're not struggling to find
to fill your seats there,
and you're able to either train them, or there's enough of the skills present. And are the people in Forsyth? Are they coming down from Springfield?
So Forsyth is a very rural community. The ASI was started to help provide jobs in the rural community. And so at the moment, we're supporting, that's still our fundamental mission, is to provide jobs in this area and help our community. And so, yeah, finding, we're not competing with the big city necessarily. We are being a lot more selective this year than what we have in years past. Used to be, we'd check your pulse, and if you had one, we'd give you a try. We've actually gone through a strategic planning session, and part of our growth strategy is to become an all-star company of team of all-stars. So one of the questions we ask ourselves is, does this person have what it takes to be an all-star player on the team? So we can train you to do anything if you're willing to learn.
How do you determine if somebody's going to be an all-star? Like, how many interviews are you looking at? And then
they walk into the interview and they sing Smash Mouth, "Hey Now."
So we actually, didn't have a full interview process. We now have like a three interview process where you've got to, talk to the shop floor manager. We look at your application first, see if you even warrant an in-person. Shop floor manager have a second follow-up, and then probably all the way up to Doug Chowning, the president of the company. It's going to see you.
We're kind of a two interview system right now, where usually like the person they're likely to work for will do an initial interview, and then like we'll take them to lunch and kind of get a roundabout who are they kind of interview.
Yeah, we hire a lot through references, recommendations too, so that kind of like is the pre-interview. So yeah, that's great that they all get to meet Doug and pass through that gate. Well, I do really respect that mission to like bring out provide jobs for people in a rural area. My wife, before her current job, was working, it's all education based, and so they were trying to help different people approach education somewhat creatively. And so there was a large like push towards how do you create a high school experience or an educational opportunity for students in rural areas where they have to work. So half their day has to be like, they have to help provide for their family, or they're on a farm, or they're like, and so how do you help ensure that they're still able to, have a good education while also, taking care of their family and so that
AP calculus plus chickens.
Yeah. The rate of change of which came first.
It's a lot to deal with there. So
yeah, well, I think I'm at the end of my.
Oh, that's great. That was fascinating for me. Thank you, Perry.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else that you might want to say that's like a good just pitch for ASI or Cetec or yourself or whatever? Like, we give you just a little platform and
Soundbite.
I do want to pick you guys' brain and say, ask you guys the last couple of wire harness leadership summits. They've been talking about AI. So what's going on in the world of AI with Cetec?
No, funny. Well, while we're here recording, I have my laptop writing code for me. That's one thing that's going on with AI. I don't want to maybe destroy the newsletter announcements, but the ability to connect your AI agent to your ERP system seems to be in our nearer term path. So I guess if you back that up, there's been Scott's not heard of this, so you're actually like you're giving us an opportunity for me to spring something on Scott about what is in the works with AI. We've done a lot of thinking about how to do this effectively. What actually is the value? One of the easiest things that we've done is let people basically search through all of our help resources and get to hopefully a semi-meaningful answer out of it. Like what can I do? So that's already in app where you can say, hey, how do I make a work order that does X, Y, or Z, and you get an answer. And quite honestly, it's remarkably good. It's imperfect.
I've heard chitter chatter on the data around that it's actually
it's effective.
people are using it and it works. Like it's yeah.
And you think especially for like a new user who shows up, when you're adding 300 employees a day like ASI is, and the training burden gets to be real high. So when they say like, hey, how do I split this line so I can ship what I have complete? And, they ask the agent and it gets an answer, tells you step by step what to do in Cetec. So that's already there. We do that. The next thing that we want to do is let people kind of get insights to their own data. So there's a sneaky little part of the product that we haven't turned on for everybody. That was like an experimental, the ability to ask a question of your data and it will write a query and get that back to you. And we turned it on for one or two places where, we knew they would play with it. And it's fine. It's fine. I don't think that one's going to make it out of R&D. Bluntly, I think that one will probably gently be put to sleep on the very longest of sleeps. And where I think we're going to be heading is towards what you call MCP, which is a way of connecting an AI agent to a data set or an API. And initially, we're not gonna let you perform tasks, but we will let you ask for data. And so that's likely the way that you can do this. You could take your, I don't know if you have a preferred AI agent. If you're, Gemini or OpenAI or Claude or ByteDance. These are all valid options here. Yeah, exactly. You can go wherever you want, but you can usually connect your agent to then your ERP data set, and it will use the APIs that we have documented and let you ask questions, and hopefully get answers that are not completely insane. So that's coming soon to an ERP system near you.
I could tell you one of the things we'd be interested in is looking at productivity by our users, right? So it'd be interesting to know who do we need to help train and or help become more effective when we have some manufacturing floor personnel that are extremely efficient and some that are less than that.
Yeah, well, it sounds like AI is going to have a way to do that. I think I and maybe everyone else will be curious about how for the agent to actually execute tasks within the system. I know that opens up a box of scaries for you, but yeah.
We'll start with the read only, and then pick a couple would-be voluntary guinea pigs to say, sure, I love AI to be able to delete all my orders. Why not? Well, Perry, thanks for joining us. Appreciate your time. Appreciate all the thoughts. And that is going to conclude this episode of Build Your Way, the official Cetec ERP podcast. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Spotify. You can probably find us in Perry's car if you can break in without him noticing. If you have any great ideas or things you want us to talk about, send us an email at podcast@ctecherp.com.
Until then, build your way.